Where is everyone? Brace yourself, Danny. Ian pointed upward and Daniel heard it as well. The bell rang in the distance. Daniel knew what was coming. The others were like clockwork. Most of them crouched down and held on to whatever surface was grippable. Daniel did the same. The quake happened just moments later, and the ringing grew louder and louder until it matched the vibrations that shook the tunnel walls. He was ready, or so he thought. When it finally caught up with them, everything went black. And then Daniel woke up. When he did, he could hear the others talking. Ian was the first to acknowledge it. Well, look who's finally awake. That's when Daniel realized something that he had missed before. Wait, am I the only one that falls asleep when that happens? Well, yeah. Remember when we told you you'll get used to that? Well, when you do, you won't go Sleeping Beauty so easily. Oh, okay, so how long does that take? Afraid we can't say. It's different for everybody. It took Cliff here somewhere shy of 3 months to stay awake. A whole 3 months. Wait, how long was I out precisely? Daniel said, a little afraid of how long it would take him to build up such an immunity. Ian held up his wrist as if he were looking at a watch, except there was nothing on his wrist. Well, as you can see by my super sophisticated timing device, I'd guess 3 hours. 3 hours? Daniel yelled. Well, approximately anyway. There is not exactly a sundial here to go on, or a sun for that matter. Ian said with a playful smile. Hey Danny, let's go to the falls. It's not far from here. The falls? Just trust me, Ian said while walking. Ian led Daniel through a series of tunnels. Along the way, Daniel wondered how it was that they never got lost through all of this. A few minutes later, they reached their destination, an open cavern that looked to be a mile wide, and in its center were the falls, which turns out were glowing waterfalls. It was the first water source he had seen since he awakened here, which now that he began to think about it made him a little on edge. Ian, what do we do for food in this place? With a bewildered look, Ian said. That's what you are thinking about. What do you mean? Yes, that's what I'm thinking about. Besides a glowing flower, this is the first sign of life in this place. I'm guessing that's what we're drinking, but where's the food, Ian? Daniel questioned in such a way that he wanted to make sure that he was not embarrassed at all to be asking these questions. This time, all Ian could do was laugh so hard that his knees buckled, and Daniel had to admit that he understood. This sight was beautiful, of course, and no doubt Ian expected Daniel to comment on it. Instead, he asked a much more practical question, one he still wanted answered, but again, he understood the humor of the situation. Okay, I understand you may be a little worried about where your next meal comes from. Follow me. Ian led Daniel down closer to the pool of water, a little bit away from the crashing waterfalls. There was a spot where Ian's group made camp beforehand. Ian withdrew a bag left there and withdrew a few cups. Handing Daniel one, he nodded to the water. It's fresh. After taking the cup, Ian pointed to the group of plants near the campsite. Yank on them. When he did, he could see that the plant had some sort of fruit attached. Without an invitation, Daniel took a bite. Was it sweet? Definitely not what Daniel was expecting. The two sat silently for a while, eating the fruit and water, mesmerized by the falls. The water seemed to fluctuate in color. Daniel was so lost by the moment that it only occurred to him that something was missing or someone. Where is everyone else? Ian kept quiet, pretending he didn't hear the question, but Daniel knew that was an act. Don't get quiet on me now. It's just you and me. I could have sworn we all were heading to the falls together, but then Ian never turned to speak. Instead, he kept his eyes on the waterfalls. Don't worry about them. They'll show up again. They always do. Daniel's confusion only grew. Darting his gazes around the cavern looking for the missing party. What do you mean they'll show up? I thought you guys always stick together. Again, Ian never broke his gaze, fixating on one spot of the crashing water up ahead. It's hard to explain. Sometimes they're with me, and sometimes they're not. But Daniel started to say, however, Ian was quick to cut him off. Don't ask, please.